The runners stepped onto the track and got into the blocks. Their hands pressed against the rough surface, eyes fixed with determination. The stadium falls silent for a moment, and then the gun goes off. Instantly, every sprinter exploded out of the blocks, taking quick, powerful strides as they rushed down the track. Now, imagine being the sprinter who's worked so hard to get into this race. He sees himself gaining on people. He's passing people. He's leading the pack. He's finally going to win. All the work he put in is finally going to pay off. But then, all of a sudden, this sharp pain shoots through his legs. And before he could react, his legs gave out and he crumpled to the track. As the race continued without him, shock and frustration rushed through his mind. Now, I want that story to sit with you for a moment. Because everyone, and I mean everyone, has experienced a setback in something that they care deeply about. Maybe it was getting a bad grade after studying for hours. Maybe it was failing a tryout. Or maybe it was an injury that prevented you from doing what you love. You start doubting yourself. Should I keep going? Why is this happening to me? Am I falling behind? That's when frustration takes over. That's when motivation fades. And suddenly, quitting feels easier than continuing. But what if I told you that the most important part of recovery wasn't physical at all? What if I told you that going to the athletic trainer or stretching wasn't the most effective way? What if there was something else? Something that doesn't require the body at all? I know that sounds crazy, but hear me out. Today, I want to talk about mentality and how it is one of the most powerful and overlooked tools athletes use when recovering from sports injuries. I'm talking about how mentality can help athletes recover from setbacks because of lack of motivation. Since seeing little or no improvement can not only end someone's athletic career, but also prevent them from doing what they love. This matters because injuries aren't rare. In fact, according to the National Library of Medicine, 90% of high school athletes and 91% of college athletes experience at least one setback, an injury, in their athletic career. Some are minor, some are serious. But the mental impact can be just as damaging as the physical one. Studies show that young athletes who drop out of sports due to injury often struggle with anxiety, depression, and loss of motivation. When the mind gives up, the body often does too. I know this because I've been there. I am a track and field athlete, and last season, during sprint practice, I pulled a hip flexor muscle called the iliacus. It wasn't a major injury, but it was enough to set me back. My sprint times got slower. My long jump distances dropped. For an entire month, I was incredibly slow compared to before. Watching my progress stall destroyed my motivation. Every practice felt pointless. And I started questioning whether all the work was even worth it. But eventually, something clicked in my mind. I realized that injuries happen, even to athletes who work hard and do things right. As a result, I learned to be patient. I focused on recovery, accepted the setback, and trusted the process. That mental shift didn't heal me, but it helped me heal properly. So, what exactly is mentality? Well, mentality is how you respond when things don't go your way. It's your ability to stay patient when progress is slow, focused when emotions are high, and hopeful when results are discouraging. And for injured athletes, mentality can determine whether recovery is efficient or whether frustration leads to burnout or quitting. But how exactly does mentality help? Well, first of all, mentality helps athletes learn and stay calm during recovery. When an athlete is injured, panic often takes over. They worry about falling behind, losing their seat, or never returning to peak performance. But a strong mentality helps calm the mind and shift focus toward a plan. Instead of thinking, I'm stuck, the athlete starts thinking, okay, what can I do today to get better? Planning recovery exercises, mobility work, and gradual training isn't just physically helpful, it's mentally stabilizing. And with determination to return stronger, athletes pay closer attention to their form, habits, and progress. They begin to learn from the injury rather than fear it. However, fear is still a major challenge. Athletes are afraid of getting injured again, and that fear can lead to self-doubt and negativity, especially when recovery feels slow. Which leads me to my second point. Mentality helps athletes take care of themselves, especially through sleep, diet, and understanding of their injury. Recovery isn't just what happens during practice. It happens when you sleep, when you eat, and when you understand what your body needs. Athletes who understand that injuries are common are more likely to learn from it, ask questions about what caused the injury, and take steps to prevent it in the future. Sleep allows the body to heal. Proper nutrition fuels recovery. But without the right mindset, athletes often forget these basics because they feel disappointed or frustrated. Understanding that recovery takes time and that setback doesn't mean failure helps athletes treat their body with respect instead of fear and frustration. Still, none of this works without one final piece: belief. Belief is what ties everything together. When athletes believe that they will recover, their confidence improves. And that confidence increases their work ethic, their focus, and ultimately, their recovery efficiency. Positivity doesn't mean pretending everything to be perfect. It means trusting that things will improve with time and effort. Believing that everything will be okay calms the mind. And when the mind is calm, athletes unconsciously focus better. They follow their plans more carefully. They listen to their bodies. They stop comparing with others and start competing with who they were yesterday. A clear mind leads to a clear plan, and that plan leads to progress. So we've learned what the problem is. We've learned what mentality is and how it helps solve it. And here's the good news. This doesn't apply to only athletes. Everyone experiences setbacks. As I was writing this TED Talk, I was rehearsing for the Winter Play Anonymous, preparing for track season, and studying for quizzes and assessments all at once. The pressure was enormous, but I kept going. Not because it was easy, but because I believed I could handle them. So what can we do? Well, we need to start teaching mental recovery, not just physical recovery. Athletes should be taught that it is okay to feel frustrated after an injury. What matters is being patient, accepting the setback, and trusting the process. Coaches, athletes, and teammates should emphasize the importance of mindset just as much as strength or speed. Injuries may slow the body down, but mentality determines whether the athlete stops entirely. And like my opening example, maybe one race, one injury prevented someone to cross the finish line. However, with a month to recover and with a better mentality, this athlete crosses the finish line first and takes gold. Taking themselves with diet and exercise is important, but the key to recovery is mentality. And that is the key to success for us all. Thank you.